The death penalty is justified political violence.
2 weeks ago, a man named Andrew Johnson, who was found guilty of assaulting a police officer on January 6th. He had a prison sentence of, I think it was 2 or 3 years. He had not started his prison sentence yet. He was pardoned.
God damn. It's so loud.
He was pardoned by Donald Trump.
I know, you're right.
He was pardoned by Donald Trump, so he never served his sentence for assaulting a police officer on January 6th. He was just arraigned in court because he molested an 11-year-old boy 3 times.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're watching something that gets heated fast. Harry Sisson sits down with Michael Knowles and Chris Mowry for what turns into an absolutely explosive debate about political violence, who really gets held accountable, and a pardon case that honestly left me speechless. This conversation takes a turn nobody saw coming, and by the end you'll see exactly why this issue matters way more than most people realize. Make sure you stick around because the final revelation in this debate is something you absolutely need to hear all the way through. And real quick, drop a comment letting me know where you're tuning in from. I love seeing where everyone's watching. All right, let's get into it.
Bill Clinton said.
I was born in 2002. Like, I don't care
what Bill Clinton said. We're a different party now. We have a nuanced take that would help the United States.
You guys nominated Hillary less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would argue that Hillary in 2016 was different than Bill Clinton in his presidency. Hillary Clinton was not calling for social services to be defunded. But we in the Democratic Party have a nuanced view of immigration that is far better for the United States than you, who is just like, should we deport everybody or not? It's
Your
not
view is
it's not an absolute.
Only
it's not absolute.
enforce the law when I want to. That's
no.
What happened to no kings?
You voted for a convicted felon.
You voted for a felon.
Voted for a felon.
Come on,
another
man.
question?
All right, sorry.
I'm back. This time for you boys.
Okay.
Early on, I think it was Harry, but it could have been either one of you.
You just confused. They all look the same.
We do look the same.
That's all.
Generic white guys.
Generic white guys do look very similar, yes.
But you made the claim that right-wing political violence is more prominent than left-wing political violence.
Absolutely.
Which is an insane claim to make when in September, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on a college campus debating people in friendly debate. And since then, we have only seen a rise in left-wing violence. We see them openly chanting for people to be killed, including Donald Trump.
Violent speech is violence now?
People, including Nick Shirley,
it can be.
went out
in some cases, but not that
to
case.
do journalism, independent journalism.
Nick Shirley's not a journalist.
And
he's not a journalist. He's an idiot.
They told him he would get kirked.
Okay,
wait.
Hold on. I'm gonna let Harry answer this. I just want to say 2 things briefly. What happened to Charlie Kirk was absolutely abhorrent and wrong and terrible. I want to point that out. Number 1. Number 2, Nick Shirley is not a journalist. Okay, I'll explain. If you let me, please. Look at these people freaking out.
He's not a journalist because he actually breaks
No,
news
there's
stories.
nothing about what Nick Shirley, the stupid video, nothing was uncovered, right? We've been going after this fraud in Minnesota for a long time. The Biden DOJ literally brought charges against like 55 different people in Minnesota relating.
This has nothing to do with political violence.
All right, I know. Quickly, Nick Shirley didn't expose anything that we didn't already know, and it was full of a bunch of lies, hate, and racism.
Look,
that's all I'm saying.
Look,
it's the truth.
Here. Look, we, both Chris and I, first of all, on a serious note, the day that Charlie Kirk was shot and murdered, we both got out there on every platform and said it is horrific.
Yes,
Horrific. We condemn it.
I am not accusing you
We agree with all political violence is bad.
Yes.
Political violence is bad. We disagree with it. We still disagree with it. We don't make jokes about it. We don't laugh about it. It was horrific. We all saw it on our timelines. It was awful. Great. Now, on the topic of political violence, Melissa Hortman in Minnesota was murdered by a Trump supporter who told the New York Post he was a Trump supporter. And when Donald Trump was asked, why didn't you lower the flags for Melissa Hortman? Why did you do it for Charlie Kirk, not her? He said, who? When Nancy Pelosi's husband was beaten over the head with a hammer, Donald Trump Jr. posted a photo on Instagram mocking it. Donald Trump also mocked it, saying, how's Paul Pelosi doing right now? Might I add, January 6th was the largest example of political violence in modern American...
Harry.
Wait, can I finish this point?
It wasn't even the largest example of political violence at the Capitol.
It's the largest example of political violence in modern American history. What happened?
What about when the Puerto Rican nationalists shot up the House floor and shot 5 members of Congress?
That's bad.
What about when
wait, hold on, let me answer a question.
What about when the Underground set off a bomb in the Capitol?
Let me answer a question.
This is all recent. I'm just saying
I'm happy to talk about, condemn all of it. That was the largest example of political violence in recent American history. And what happened to those people? They beat police officers, they got prosecuted by a proper DOJ, and then Donald Trump pardoned them. By the way, many of them have been convicted again or charged again on serious crimes like child pornography possession, right? So you want to talk about political violence? Look at your own side. Donald Trump mocks political violence, whereas we condemn all of it. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, you should be able to say what you want when you want.
What's fascinating here is how Harry breaks down the immigration argument in a way that actually makes sense. When he says, we in the Democratic Party have a nuanced view of immigration that is far better for the United States than you, who was just like, should we deport everybody or not? He's hitting on something the other side refuses to acknowledge. Immigration isn't black and white. You can't just scream deport everyone and pretend that's policy. That's a bumper sticker, not a solution. And then watch what happens when the political violence question comes up. Harry immediately says, what happened to Charlie Kirk was absolutely abhorrent and wrong and terrible. No hesitation, no deflection, just pure condemnation. That's how you handle political violence regardless of who it targets. But here's where it gets interesting. He doesn't stop there. He brings up Melissa Hortman in Minnesota was murdered by a supporter who told the New York Post he was a supporter. And when the former president was asked why he didn't lower the flags for Melissa like he did for Charlie, he said, "Ho, that tells you everything about selective grief and who actually matters to certain people." Then Harry drops the hammer saying, the events at the Capitol were the largest example of political violence in modern American history, and you can see the other side scrambling because they know it's true.
Do Democrats condemn all of it?
Yes.
Because there was a very interesting article in a magazine I very rarely read called The Atlantic, which pointed out that as of last year, contrary to previous trends, political violence became predominantly a left-wing phenomenon rather than a right-wing phenomenon. Now, this was based on evidence from a generally more left-leaning institute, obviously in The Atlantic, which is left-leaning. And what's funny about it is, even using their own data, which exclude instances of left-on-right political violence, including one that I experienced myself when Antifa showed up and threw an explosive at a building when I was on stage. It was great. It was okay. We survived. The poor cop was injured, but she made it out okay eventually.
Good.
That wasn't even counted in the data sets of political violence. The BLM violence, which killed dozens of people, wasn't counted in the data sets of political violence. And so hold on. The point I'm making, Harry, is...
Go ahead.
Even using data sets which, by and large, exclude left-wing political violence, even the Atlantic magazine admitted that today, political violence in America is predominantly a left-wing, not a right-wing phenomenon.
So, but there's data undercounted on both sides, I'm sure. I've had political violence against me by Republicans in the streets. It was awful, and obviously I'm fine, I made it. But that was not counted in any of these studies.
If I may ask.
You can ask. Well, it was funny. We were in the bar in New York City. My friends and I were walking around. These guys came up to me. They were like, "Oh, Harry Sisson." They shoved the phone in my face. They threw a beer, and we threw some punches. It's fine. It's never. I've never talked. I never talked about it before.
Are you breaking news on it?
No.
But you and I have also both been swatted before.
I've been swatted. I've had the FBI sent to the FBI sent to my house, my school, all that crap. It's been bad. But do you condemn what Donald Trump did by mocking Paul Pelosi's assault?
Yeah, I wouldn't mock Paul Pelosi's
Okay,
assault.
great.
Wait, but hold on. But that was,
by the way,
hold on one second. Do you condemn?
Yes or no?
Do you condemn Donald Trump pardoning the police officers?
I don't condemn Donald Trump. He's the greatest president of my lifetime.
Well, that's
okay. So that's
weird.
the difference.
That's
wait. Time out. Hold on, Michael, and then I'm gonna ask the crowd as well. Do you condemn Donald Trump pardoning people who beat police officers?
Which people? You're talking like Alex
people
Preddy?
on January 6th.
You're talking about Alex Preddy?
No, on January 6th. Do you condemn
I do condemn Alex Preddy and Renee Good in their political behaviors.
Do you condemn the people who beat police officers on January 6th?
I think that January 6th was
okay. You're not going to give me an answer.
Was one of the most mild examples.
$20 if you answer my question.
Yes or no?
Do you condemn? Do you condemn Donald Trump?
Then I'll tell you if it's
Do you condemn Donald Trump pardoning people who beat police officers?
I don't.
Can I wait?
I want to ask the crowd now. Wait. Hold on. I'm going to ask the crowd as well. Do you guys condemn Donald Trump pardoning people who beat police officers almost to death? I don't care about you. Yes or no? Yes?
A Trump supporter is the only person who died.
I want to point out, wait. This guy over here said who died on January 6th. I want to point out there's been 4 Capitol police officers since that day who have taken their own life in relation. Hold on, can I finish?
That's not the question he asked.
Hold on. In relation to that event, because they had a bunch of MAGA people telling them that they were part of a deep state conspiracy. They had nowhere to go. They had families. They took their own life.
This is where things get revealing. Michael tries to flip the script by claiming political violence became predominantly a left-wing phenomenon rather than a right-wing phenomenon, but then he accidentally admits his own source excluded multiple incidents. He's citing incomplete data and presenting it as fact. That's not analysis. That's cherry-picking. Then Harry asks the most straightforward question possible. Do you condemn people who beat police officers? And watch what happens. Silence. Deflection. Everything except a clear answer. If you claim to back the blue, If you say law enforcement matters, then this should be the easiest question in the world. But they can't answer it because it forces them to confront something uncomfortable. And here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. Harry points out there's been 4 Capitol police officers since that day who have taken their own life in relation to that event because they had a bunch of people telling them that they were part of a deep state conspiracy. They had nowhere to go. They had families. They took their own life. These are people who served their country, protected elected officials, and were then vilified by the very people they protected. The psychological toll of being called a traitor for doing your job is something we need to talk about more. These officers became collateral damage in a narrative war, and nobody on that side wants to acknowledge it.
So that's number one. I don't think it's reasonable to say that
you're blaming you're now expanding the definition of political violence to include ex post facto suicide.
I'm not. He made a claim.
I think you are.
No, he made a claim that the only person who died at January 6th, for example, was Ashley Babbitt.
That's correct.
I think it's dishonest to not talk about the police officers who have PTSD and then took their own life.
You don't condemn. And further, Michael, you don't fully condemn political violence.
And I also want to point out,
you don't fully condemn political violence.
Hold on. I want to point out.
No, I don't fully condemn political violence in as much as.
Y'all agree with that?
No, I don't. I mean,
someone clip that.
War can
clip
be
that.
justified.
Oh, okay. Political violence that's motivated.
Officers shooting criminals in certain cases. That's justified political violence. The death penalty is justified political violence.
2 weeks ago, a man named Andrew Johnson, who was found guilty of assaulting a police officer on January 6th. He had a prison sentence of, I think it was 2 or 3 years. He had not started his prison sentence yet. He was pardoned.
God damn. It's so loud.
He was pardoned by Donald Trump.
I know, you're right.
He was pardoned by Donald Trump, so he never served his sentence for assaulting a police officer on January 6th. He was just arraigned in court because he molested an 11-year-old boy 3 times with subpoena text messages of him telling this 11-year-old boy, quote, I was a January 6er. I'm going to win a bunch of money because I'm an American hero. I'm going to leave it in my will for you. And he was basically trying to, obviously, he was a predator, right?
Okay,
and so my point being is that Donald Trump pardoned this guy. This 11-year-old boy.
He didn't pardon him for child abuse. Good grief. He pardoned him
he's
because
arguing
it's
now
overzealous prosecution of political
It's
dissidents.
almost as if
That's a completely disingenuous
No, it's not. Because if somebody is willing to assault a police officer on January 6th, it's almost like they are more likely to commit violent crimes within all of our communities. This 11-year-old boy. No, this is
what
they commit less crimes.
I am talking about, and you don't want to deport him, and that's why I won $20 from Mary.
I won the $20 on that. He answered the question.
I'm talking about a Donald Trump supporter.
The guy
I'm talking about a Donald Trump supporter who, at the direction of Donald Trump, showed up to the Capitol, beat a police officer, got pardoned, and then molested an 11-year-old boy, and we're defending it. What are we talking about?
I don't think anyone's defending it.
Why do you defend his pardon?
Do you believe
that boy would not have got molested?
This is where the entire law and order argument collapses. Harry brings up a man named Andrew Johnson who was found guilty of assaulting a police officer at the Capitol. He had a prison sentence of, I think it was 2 or 3 years. He had not started his prison sentence yet. He was pardoned. So let's pause right there. Andrew Johnson assaulted a police officer, got convicted, was supposed to serve time, and got pardoned before he ever saw the inside of a cell. But it gets worse. Harry continues. He was just arraigned in court because he committed terrible crimes against an 11-year-old child 3 times with subpoena text messages saying, I was at that event. I'm going to win a bunch of money because I'm an American hero. I'm going to leave it in my will for you. Let that sink in. And this man used his status as a pardoned individual to manipulate and harm a child. The text messages prove premeditation. He believed he was untouchable because he was labeled a patriot. This isn't hypothetical. This isn't what if. This is documented court evidence showing that someone who assaulted law enforcement was freed and then went on to become a predator. Harry's final point is devastating. A supporter who showed up, beat a police officer, got pardoned, and then harmed an 11-year-old child, and we're defending it. That child's suffering could have been prevented if justice had been allowed to run its course. When you pardon violent offenders for political reasons, this is the cost. And no amount of patriotic rhetoric can erase that. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Now please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.